Stu, Poulson Creative. Great to see you again.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me here. This is really exciting. You invited me here to just discuss with you and share feedback on this. Introduce it.
So this is the Ultraviolette Mach 2. We work with Motor Mondo, so we're a distributor of Motor Marini, MASH, etc. This is another brand that they've taken on. So they're pushing it hard. It's quite exciting. If you hadn't noticed, it's fully electric. And it's a conversation I've had with Ethan, the UK sales manager, for some time, where it's attractive to me, but as a dealer, I'm not sure, because I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of other manufacturers in electric, and I just don't know whether or not orders will come flying through. So the reason why I thought, I mean, it's here because we've got an event on next weekend, and as part of that, we've got a lot of people coming to see us, and I thought, well, why not have it here, help them out, let them have a look at it. I've ridden it, and it's quite exciting, and all electric bikes are, but the reason this one's particularly interesting to me is that it's got a bit of a USP. So this actually falls within the same category as a CBT license. So
125.
Exactly. So it means you don't need to get a full bike license, but hopefully you'll have a go on it and you'll see it rides more like a 500-600cc bike.
Yet all you have to do is a half-day, one-day CBT.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through the huge expense and hassle of getting a full license. This is CBT ready.
It almost allows you to sort of see if you like it without having to do all the stringent tests and everything else. So the reason why I think that's quite interesting is it might be what the electric market needs to suddenly take a barrier down. Plus, this has got a starting offer of 8,600, which, yeah, okay, it's a lot of money versus the bike market, but versus other electric bikes on the market, it is not a lot of money.
The thing that you were saying earlier, just my memory, this is how new it is. Say the brand name again.
Ultraviolette.
Ultraviolette. Is it ultraviolette or violet? It's like almost a French spelling.
Exactly. It might well be. In England, I think we say ultraviolet.
Look, this is an Indian brand. They started 2016.
That's right.
Their aim is to make ultra high performance electric bikes, eco-friendly motorbikes in essence. The thing that really excited me, Stu. Yes. It's a CBT ready. That's all you need. You said it's genuinely quick. Your words.
Yes. Yeah, it actually is. Yeah.
Is that possible that you could be riding a CBT level bike and it be genuinely exciting?
Well, I think this is what they've managed to achieve, and it isn't that they manipulate anything. There is a basic law of performance to the rear wheel of a certain amount of power, but it's done a consistency over the vehicle. So if, for example, it was a fuel bike, at many moments in its rev range, it would exceed the CBT license, and therefore wouldn't be
15 horsepower.
Yeah. So anything sort of 250 or above is never going to land within in that sort of specification. I don't know quite how they've done it, but because it's electric and the power is consistent throughout, it just falls within that. But it obviously, in my opinion, far exceeds what a normal 125 would do. So 125 will get up to that threshold, and then it will drop down below it once you need to change gear again, where this consistently has power all the way through at all times.
This is the witchcraft that they've done here, the magic.
Yeah.
This is sub 15 horsepower, so it's CBT, but actually in reality, through some clever magic, it's really more like a 40 horsepower bike.
Exactly.
This is why it's so fascinating. So what I'm going to do, get kitted up and I'll prepare to head off. That's how it looks, by the way. I'm 6'1", it's about 207 kilos, something like that, but the seat height is really low.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite pleasant from a management point of view. I'll get to build quality and everything when I hit the road. There is one thing, Stu, I want to do.
Sure.
Fascinating thing about this is you can't charge this bike through the normal network of chargers on the road and stuff like that. The only way you can charge this is through a normal... Stu, I'll get you back in shot.
Yes,
just in case. The only place you can charge this, normal plug sockets, which is, I guess, a plus and a minus, but you can plug it into any 3-pin socket.
Yeah.
2 hours to charge the bike from empty to full, or about 1.5 hours to charge at 60%, something like that. Range in town of about 140, 150 miles. Range on the motorway, looking at 80 miles, something like that. Let me show you this, one sec. And then, Stu, I promise I'll let you carry on. I know how busy you are at the moment. This,
I'm going to hold that.
Yeah, do you mind? I tell you, can you take it out?
Yeah, of course.
So, this is the charger pack that it comes with. You have to use this. This is...
So this goes in the bike?
That plugs into the bike.
And that just goes in your wall at home or in your garage or wherever?
It's a big, heavy unit, this. The reality is you could put
It's a bit bigger than Optimate, isn't it?
Yeah, and you could put, I'm just feeling the weight of it.
Yeah.
It's got to be 10, 12 kilos.
Yeah, it's quite, about that sort of
In
weight.
reality, you don't want to be putting this in a backpack to take it round to places.
No, absolutely not.
But what this does, so the reality is you're not going to be doing long trips on this because that is a heavy unit. But what it does mean that if you have charging at home, you're going to be able to just go to work, enjoy riding around the city, and then plug it into your normal main socket. You're not going to have to worry even about installing a proper electric charger.
Exactly.
But you're not going to be carrying that in a backpack. So again, positives and negatives. Stu, thank you. I'm going to take this on the road and see what I think about it. I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
it's the power element with the CBT element that's so fascinating about this.
Let me know what you think. I think it feels light and nimble and quick. And then it was when Ethan explained to me that it would be under a CBT. It wouldn't, to you and I, it doesn't matter. But for then the market of like my friends who don't have bike licenses, or people who say, I'm considering riding into work, but it's a huge barrier getting my license, or you show them a 125 and it's just, let's be honest, not hugely attractive to a lot of people, this suddenly ticks huge boxes that nothing in the market can. And that's why I thought it was interesting, and I want to see what you think.
Are we potentially seeing a birth of a new little area of biking? This is the question I'm going to try and answer, and also I'd be fascinated by all of your input. Let us know what you think about this, because this will be interesting for you as well to see people's feedback, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, and you know, it's likely that we're going to become a dealer, but I genuinely want your interest in feedback, because I ride 100 bikes a week, and this made me smile and interested me. But will it sell? That's the number one question, right? You know, so let's see what you think. And see
Stu, thank you for letting me have this opportunity.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Well, that's in the middle mode. There are 3 riding modes. 50 miles an hour on these country lanes with no issue at all. Everything's smooth, easy to ride, and seamless. The thing I'm very curious about here, though, the thing I really can't get my head around yet, is that this is, well, you can think of it like a 125cc learner legal bike. But I just checked online at the stats. The website says this does 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. The gentleman who brought this bike over gave a demo to Stu and I. He said it's probably a bit closer to 3 seconds. But either way, this is no more than half a second off Bugatti Veyron speed, 0 to 60, on a bike that you can go out and just do your half-day CBT lesson on, and then you can ride this. The key to that, 3 riding modes. Number 1 is called Glide. That's 30 miles an hour, going around town, as economical as you like, 140 miles range. The next one is Combat. That's a little bit of everything. That's being nice and level-headed. The next one, if you don't want to be level-headed, and I don't usually care too much for speed, but I have to try this, the next is Ballistic. Ballistic is where you can hit 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, and I have never been from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds in any vehicle in my life. Looks-wise, think Japanese Super Naked, where aggression and performance figures are the order of the day. Front to back, top to bottom, it's a plastic fest. I'm guessing that's to help with the aerodynamics, to make it as efficient as possible. Quality of the plastics is, it's mediocre at best. Don't know if you can hear that. Otherwise it looks weird, like I'm massaging the bike. You can hear the plastic creaking. I would say acceptable as a level of plastic. There's a little crease on the front there, but it's okay. It's 9.5 to 8.5K if you get it on the initial deal, which is a lot. If you compare it to other electric bikes, fine, it's cheap. But if you just compare it to motorbikes full stop, it is a lot of money. So is that level of plastic acceptable on a bike of this price? The jury's out, and I'm still open-minded. Coming around to the back, you've got that very, very aggressive rear quarter with pillion seat. That's perfectly comfortable to go 2 up on a little coffee run. Looks-wise in general, it's kind of your standard generic looking electric bike. It doesn't specifically do anything for me. They're not pushing the boundaries on with regards to styling on an emotive level here. And I first saw the bike about an hour ago. You look at it, you think, okay, yep, that's what I expect an electric bike to be like. So it's not going to win any awards from a looks point of view, and it's not specifically going to excite people to thinking, oh, look at that electric bike. I'm switching now from petrol to electric. But, quickly show you around. Let's see what that performance is like, because really, on this bike, on the website, everywhere you look, absolutely everything about these models from Ultraviolette is about performance. Everything, front and centre. Could that sway me? Quick little close-up of the bike. You've got a single disc on the front. On the side you have these wings. Slightly borderline with the quality of plastics, but I think it's good enough. I don't know if that's functional or just from an aesthetics point of view. Swing arm with the shock neatly tucked away underneath. 2-part seat here, each individually removable, no storage that I know of, although I may be wrong, I couldn't figure it out. And this is what's going to be very different to a lot of people. So, ballistic mode at the moment. Switch between those modes. You've got glide, which is the ultra eco mode. You also have combat mode, which is the middle one. On this side, I've got buttons that look like a PlayStation controller. You can see here 93% range and 93% battery with 117 mile range. I'll push a few of these buttons to see if they do anything obvious. Regen unavailable, because I'm at over 90%. 492 miles. Look, I'm pressing buttons. Nothing obvious is happening, but I'm sure they all do something. I've spoken for long enough. Now's the time. Combat, ballistic. Let's see what 0 to 60 in sub 3 seconds feels like. Woo! Yeah, I confirm. It's not called ballistic for no reason. Ballistic's a good word for it. That's so quick that I struggled in my head counting 1, 1, 2, 2, 1:33 to see if I could get to 3 seconds in my head. I couldn't. It's so quick off the line that I couldn't quite get my brain to function quickly enough and worry about actually holding onto the bike. It's extremely impressive for a 9.5K bike, and the really impressive bit, a CBT level bike. That is highly impressive. However, and it's a fairly big however, it's the way it gets you to 60. Yes, extremely fast, but you are removed from the emotive element that makes biking so magic. The thing that really stirs the soul when you open a throttle on a motorbike, it doesn't exist in the same way with this bike. So I don't feel the need again to get to 60 miles an hour quickly and then open up the throttle just from a purely emotive experience to put a smile on my face, to make my soul dance. That bit is conspicuously missing from this bike. As a mode of transport, very good, especially it makes more sense, in complete honesty, putting it in the glide mode and just get the most amount of economy out of it, because that, if we look at this now, that is what this bike is. And for me, at the moment, that is what electric bikes are, and that's the limitations of electric bikes. They are city modes of transport, no more at all. Example, 140 miles an hour city range, 80 to 90 miles an hour motorway range. However, the charging pack is a good 12 kilos, and no one is taking that charging pack anywhere with them, meaning that charging pack is going to stay at home. What that means is that the maximum journey you can do on this bike, in reality, because you don't want to be freaking out with the last 5%, is at a push 50 miles. That's at a push one way, because you need to get back as well and you want to have a bit of mileage left over. Let's say maybe 60 miles. And when you're in a city, that makes perfect sense, because that means you can probably commute for 2, maybe 3 days without having to charge it. And then you just charge it at home overnight. That is a total game changer. This is then an excellent mode of transport. If you want to do anything else other than city transport, then it doesn't make any sense at all. Because once you've hit 50 miles on your journey, well, you're turning home and there's no way of charging it because you don't have that 12 to 15 kilo charging pack. So yes, this can get up to 60 miles an hour, but the truth is, if you're going at 60 miles an hour, it probably means you're leaving this city. Therefore, you're not going to be doing that big a ride out of the city, and you're certainly not going to be doing big rides out with friends, because you're not going to have any friends at the end of this, because you're going to have to stop for an hour and a half to charge it. So unless people like 2 to 3 coffees in a row and they're buzzing by the end of it, yeah, you're not going to be making too many friends. Coupled with that, the seat isn't the comfiest in the world. So everything on this bike leans toward a very practical, common sense mode of city transport. But pushing past the city limits, not so sure. Dynamics, handling, braking, all of those fun things. It's very impressive. Handles its 207 kilo weight well, handles the ballistic power well. It's a really well set up bike, clearly made by people that know what they're doing. But it is a city bike. That can't be denied. And if we just go back to the price briefly, because the chances are you're not going to be able to get out, for example, to the Alps, because the charging setup for this just won't allow it. So at £9,500 as a city bike, when you can pick up, for example, a brand new Lambretta scooter for significantly under half the price, that's a tougher argument for this bike, because just as a city bike, a commuting bike, £9,500 is a lot of money, but then being completely balanced here, you're going to be probably getting a full charge of this, charge it at night. My guess is maybe less than £1, maybe £1.50 to charge this overnight. And of course, you never have to go to petrol stations again. So from a practicality point of view, again, as city transport, it does make sense. But at £9,500, this is premium level city transport. And at a premium level, there are a few areas on this bike that look decidedly budget. There are a few stickers here that you really wouldn't expect to see on a bike, even over £5,000, let alone a £10,000 bike. There are some elements here that really should not have been signed off on, and it's those really annoying, very, very simple final bits. Cheap stickers shouldn't be on a 10k bike. That's pretty impressive. I've been riding around quite a bit of the time like an idiot, and it says I've still got 116 miles of range. That's impressive. I'm drawn now to compare this to the competition. We look at the equivalent Harley-Davidson LiveWire, which will do very similar distance, about 150 miles till charge up, or 80 miles on the motorway, not 60, 3 seconds for the Harley-Davidson, and the price for the equivalent, I say Harley, the equivalent LiveWire, £17,000. And from the equivalent Zero motorcycle, that purely electric brand, their competition for this, again, a range of around about 150 miles, and guess what the 0 to 60 on the Zero is? 3 seconds. There you go. Industry standard, that's basically what an electric motorbike can do, 3 seconds on the dot. The Zero is £15,000. So this Ultraviolette is £7,000 and £5,000 respectively cheaper than those two models. But the one huge bonus it has, on top of the massive chasm in price difference, is that this Ultraviolette, somehow with the witchcraft, can be ridden on a CBT license. It'll get up to 90 miles an hour, it'll sit there perfectly comfortable. It will, in my mind, do everything that, for example, the LiveWire will do, but you only need a CBT license and you save thousands of pounds. I really don't know where, and this is a compliment to this bike, I don't know where the arrival of this bike now puts Zero motorcycles and LiveWire. I know both of those brands are really struggling with sales. I think LiveWire sells very close to Zero motorcycles now. That's, unfortunately, I say this with no happiness at all, because I would like them to succeed, but LiveWire will not be around for much longer, and a bike like this coming along, really, in my eyes, it seals that fact. A revelation? The new face of electric motorbiking, the new face of biking? No, probably not in reality. There's nothing here that's new, and there's nothing here that hasn't really been done before with the likes of Harley-Davidson and Zero. And unfortunately for them, those two brands, they've proven that these kind of motorbikes aren't, and very possibly never will be, big sellers. However, this does offer something completely unique that probably has never been done before, and that is genuine Ferrari speeds, at least up to 60 miles an hour, and all you need is a CBT license. So just from that regard, I salute them, and that does mean this is going to be hugely appealing for a number of people. However, it is still incredibly niche, and the number of people that this will be appealing to when you take everything into account is still very, very small. So it's a good effort from Ultraviolette. It's a perfectly decent bike, but you are not looking just yet at the new face of motorbiking.